Oh, United fans, where do we start? It could be a Ten Hag rant, this video, but we're going to try and be a little bit more constructive. I've put a new tactic together, something that Man United will never go to, but I just wanted to test it out and see how it looked in the match engine. So the tactic will be available for you patrons. Link down in the description for that if you want to check out that. Muchly appreciated. But we're going to go through a couple of things, such as the tactical issues we've got now, player and squad kind of issues in terms of personnel, and then how we can fix that with the tactic I have put together. All right, let's get into it. Smash a like on today's video. Anything regarding what Man United could do tactically, put it down in the comments. I would love to hear it. So this was how we lined up against Liverpool on Sunday. 4-2-3-1, with still having to go with Casemiro, Dalot on the left because of injuries to Malacia and Shaw. Garnacho on the right, which I do like. I do like Garnacho on the right because he's so average is the best word to say on his left foot. And I think here he's definitely more of a goal threat. Joshua Zirkzee playing his first start. That was always going to be tricky. Showed a nice couple of touches. Marcus Rashford, not everyone's favourite at the moment, out on the left with Bruno obviously as the 10. De Ligt coming in for his first start alongside Martinez. Now, Ten Hag has always said when he gets the personnel back, we'll be able to see sort of like the true United. And we were pretty much there at the weekend. So arguably that would be our best start 11, maybe with Højlund and obviously now Agate. And the same issues were apparent. Look at this screenshot with sort of like the average positions and the gaps between the defence and the attack is absolutely shocking. And one thing in particular that I really want to focus on this video is the role of Bruno. And as you can see with that screenshot, he's too high for me. He's way too high. I cannot help him build up. I always think he's brilliant when he comes into these areas in counter-attacks. When we win the ball, and he gets into these areas and springs sort of like these passes out and finds a striker or finds one of the wide players. But obviously a lot of the time, because we're looking at pressing in this sort of like 4-4-2, 4-2-4 kind of shape, it's meaning his starting positions are often a little bit too high. So one of the things I want to do in today's video is try and compensate with that. We've also got a little bit of an issue with Joshua Zirkzee. He doesn't suit this full throttle transition type. Yeah, he's good at holding the ball, but he likes a few touches. He likes to get on the ball. He likes to turn. He likes to drift in and just slow the game down and hold up the ball. Basically what Bologna did. So controlled in possession last year. That's why he was so good. So that was always going to be difficult for him. Obviously, we know the issues surrounding Casemiro. And obviously as well, the issues I think surrounding Kobbie Mainoo. As in, everything's now entrusted in him. He played in the Euros. He's come straight in. I think he had like 6 days training. He started every single game, including the Community Shield. First game back, and he's just been thrown in, and he looks a little bit off it at the moment. And I know Mason Mount, who we're going to talk about in the video as well, is out injured at the moment, but we need to solve this. Now, Ugarte is going to not solve it. He will make it better, and I think our results probably throughout the season may be better than what we had last year, mainly because our squad is better, and hopefully, touch wood, we can stay a little bit more injury-free and keep people like Martinez in the side, missed a large part, and obviously, hopefully, Ugarte coming in, Mason Mount, hopefully getting games, De Ligt staying fit as well, so very important that guys stay fit if we're not going to be a complete shambles this season. So, the squad depth issues that I want to kind of address. Now, we have got decent centre-halves now. Martinez, De Ligt. We've also got Lenny Yoro. And we've also got Harry Maguire. So we've got 4 kind of... I think Yoro needs to be playing pretty semi-regular. And I think the way that we're going to work with him hopefully will work. Obviously then there's Lindelof to come in. Johnny Evans. There's also the main man, Luke Shaw, who can do a job, I think, as a left-sided centre-half. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 potential players that can do a job out there. So that is a thing that I think we can focus on. Obviously, the goals that we're conceding and the counter-attacks that we're conceding, we need to be a little bit more defensively solid. So going to 3 at the back, and I love a 3 at the back. You know, you guys that have watched the channel for a long time know that I love a 3 at the back. It could potentially work. Now, a couple of other issues going forward. I think we're not absolutely amazing at wing-backs. Obviously, Dalot, by the way, has been fantastic out on that left-hand side. But it would be nice. We've obviously got Shaw in there. Malacia could do a job out there. Dalot can go. I think if they went down this route, we'd probably have to sign a wing-back anyway. But when we go into the tactic a little bit more, I've kind of altered that role just on the basis that it might be a Shaw, it might be a Dalot. Obviously, we'll take out Casemiro and let's get Ugarte in there. So there's Ugarte in there, Casemiro, Menu as well, that I'm looking at playing maybe a little bit higher. With Bruno Fernandes coming in as more of a free 8 rather than a really high 10. That is so we can get him on the ball a little bit more, helping these build-up patterns a little bit. He's often sort of like the next pass. He's often that pass in there, a build-up pass, a receiver, and we're not getting the ball enough to him. You know, he goes through games where he just doesn't contribute, and a lot of time it's not his fault. It's down to us not getting him the ball in the right area. So him coming a little bit deeper and helping in build-up is something I think we also need to do looking forward. As he ages, it might be a case where he drops back and becomes a little bit... I don't know if he could do a pivot. I don't know if he could be a double pivot alongside Ugarte, but definitely in and amongst Fernandes, but definitely in and amongst sort of like them 8. And then obviously we've got Mason Mount as well that could come in here and probably be a rotation option with Menu to take a little bit off of game time out of Menu's legs. Talking about the forward areas, we've got Rasmus to come back, which is going to be really important. There he is. We've obviously got Garnacho, Rashford. I'm not even going to include Anthony on this. And also Diallo as well. I know some of you Man United fans out there rate him. He's no more than a backup for me. He was poor, I thought, against Brighton. Got a decent goal. Big deflection, I think, wasn't it? But no more than a backup. And then it kind of leaves a little bit of pressure, I think, on Garnacho and Rashford to be playing each time. So an option potentially could be to bring these guys central. Let's take Diallo out because he's not going to feature. But playing with a 2 up front and having, you know, if you think about the FA Cup, we played that sort of like them 2 false 9s, and Garnacho pretty much played as a wide striker. It was McTominay, wasn't it? It was McTominay. It looked something like that, with that being McTominay. Let's just put Xerxes here for a second. And Garnacho high, he was kind of working his half spaces. Remember, the goal that he got was working this area here. So it's potentially something Man United could look at. You know, we're not going to win and do very well at the moment playing like Pep or playing like Arteta or playing because we haven't got the quality of players. But if we could just do something a little bit unique tactically and a little bit different. You know, we have got 2 out-and-out strikers. Rashford's had some good seasons playing as a centre-forward. He wouldn't be a lone striker. He would have support. The Xerxes as well. We would look at maybe, because of the issues we would have out here on the left-hand side with not having that really dynamic left wing-back, Rashford could always drift into sort of like these left channels. And that leaves a Højlund or a Xerxes to come in and link play. And then on the flip side of that, when it's not Rashford, we could just flip it round the other way and have Xerxes and then Garnacho playing off the other side. It could even be Højlund could do that. He could link the play a little bit, hold the ball up and let Garnacho go in behind. So what we're going to be looking at is something like this. It's a 3-5-2 with a City midfielder, 2 8s, 2 strikers, 2 obviously wing backs, and 3 outstanding. Look at the back line there with Martinez, De Ligt and Yoro. Harry Maguire to come in as a central one as well. And I think that would be valuable. Harry Maguire has done really well this season. In a few games he played well up until the point he got injured last year. Playing in a better structure, playing in a 3 as well like he did at England, I think would suit him really well. And that allows Yoro to come out. It also allows De Ligt to come out and rest. And then on this side as well with Martinez, it could quite easily be a Luke Shaw in there, a Malacia in there, potentially a January signing, or even a Dalot and Mazraoui, kind of them 2 linking up as the wing-backs. So it gives us the option, not getting caught out so much. Arne Slot talked about the 4-2, sort of like the 4-4-2, 4-2-4, whatever you want to call it, with our full-backs being quite high and quite wide, and then unfortunately leaving these massive spaces in here for the ball to come into either side. And I think De Ligt got booked in when he came across and absolutely smashed. I think it was Diogo Jota, I think. So just having an extra body in there would help. Yoro would be a decent progressor. We know Martinez is a decent progressor. De Ligt would be fantastic as that middleman in terms of clearances, playing out from the back as well, all pretty good. So we'd be able to progress naturally there. Ugarte in there doing what he does as a basic 6, but the thing we've got with that now is that we could then drop in a Fernandes. dropping a Fernandes to be a little bit more of a link player, a Mason Mount or Manu can go along, or even a Manu and Mount going into there and a Fernandes staying a little bit higher. And we would get past that thing of Fernandes not being on the ball as much. You imagine Fernandes getting the opportunity of beating a press in here and him in these areas here where he's got a little bit more space to hit these balls into for maybe a Rashford and Højlund, because we know these boys are going to want to link, because we know these boys are going to get in behind anyway. So I think that's a fantastic option. It looks a little bit more solid. One of the issues, I think, is Garnacho. I think he could do it as like a wide striker, absolutely no problem. And he would actually score probably a fair few goals. Great impact as well. Imagine having sort of like maybe a Højlund and a Xerxes, or a Højlund and a Rashford, and then bringing on a Xerxes and a Garnacho, or even leaving Højlund off the bench and coming on later on in big games. Imagine having that as a little bit of a weapon to come on. A little bit of an issue is our directness in the wide areas. We're not going to expect Luke Shaw to be doing that. We're not really good. Dalot can do it, but he likes to be a little bit more of a support player, if we're talking FM now, complete wing back on support. So they've already spoke about definitely needing strengthening, and it'll be, if it's not January, it'll definitely be something that's done in the summer, a new left wing back. I'm absolutely sure of that. We could probably get by. We've got Harry Amas that could do a job. Malacia when fit, Luke Shaw, Dalot, Mazraoui. We've got plenty of options potentially in there to get us through to January if we went down this route. Okay, so that is my thoughts behind it. Love to know what you think. Let's go now into FM, see how it's done. I've played half the season tonight. It's gone incredibly well. We wanted to stop conceding goals. We wanted to be more solid at the back, and then try and just not be lucky through games, but make sure we're clinical in front of goal. But number one, getting results on the board. Not so much looking at playing absolutely amazing, but building a little bit of a foundation back there with those three centre-halves, like Yoro, De Ligt and Martinez as three starting centre-halves, I think is absolutely class. We know Yoro's out at the moment, going to be back hopefully in a couple of months. Look, this isn't happening. This is me thinking now, if I was coming in as manager, what would I solve? There is a manager that could do this. It's Simone Inzaghi. That would be absolutely brilliant. But look, we know that's not going to happen. We're going to be stuck with Ten Hag, I think, till Christmas at the very earliest. Right. Let's dive into FM. Let's see how it looks. Right, so we're halfway through the season, and as you can see, we have built a 4-point lead. By the way, I forgot to say, if you can hear a bit of an echo, sorry. We've decorated the living room. Unfortunately, DFS have screwed over our order, and we've still not got any sofas, and it just feels a little bit echo. Hopefully, this time next week, it'll be sorted, but I just thought I'd let you know why it's all of a sudden gone a little bit echoey. We are first in the division, 4 points ahead of City. We've only lost one game, and it was Ipswich Town away, where we lost 3-0. 4 draws. We've already been to Anfield to get a 2-2, and we've already been to City to get a 0-0. So I think defensively, so much better. Only 16 goals conceded, which is absolutely fantastic, less than 1 a goal. And we've also scored 40, bearing in mind as well that we're not really scoring enough goals at the moment. And our record last year in front of goal wasn't great in terms of creating, and goal numbers was really low for a team that finished in the top half. So those are results. We also beat City on penalties in the EFL. Done a little bit of rotation. There's a lot of sub-appearances and stuff like that in EFL games. Europa League games. Marcus Rashford is absolutely loving having that support striker, playing off that left-hand side as an advanced forward. 18 goals in 24. Bruno's doing really well, contributing 19 goal contributions. Xerxes come into it. I've played him over the last few weeks, looking really good, linking the play. And I think the thing with Joshua Xerxes, as I said at the start of the video, he suits that well-controlled possession. He would probably do well in a Manchester City team. He would do very well in an Arsenal team. The Manchester United team, because he hasn't got that real burst, and he doesn't really want to do that absolute killer ball straight away. He's good at recycling possession. He's good at holding on to it. Maybe at times maybe a few little too many touches. So we need to find a solution with him, and by the looks of it, it's worked incredibly well. Right, as I said, this tactic is available for Patreons. Link down in the description if you want to support the channel. Get the direct download so you can just copy it into your FM. Absolutely brilliant. If you would, that would be amazing. I think we've got now, 130 odd Patreons on board. So appreciate your support. Lots more content coming now. Some holidays is finished. And I can't wait to get stuck into FM25 as well. So I am going to go through all the player rules and player instructions right now. So sweeper, keeper, Anana. We didn't actually speak about him. For me, he's a liability. It's not it's not an immediate problem with the squad. Obviously, I think there's midfield issues. I think there's left wing back issues as well, but potentially something that might happen if Ten Hag does go, because he is not good enough, I don't think, for Manchester United. The only thing that might change my mind about him is if we start playing a little bit more like he did at Inter, where he was quite courageous in terms of playing those balls into the sort of like the sixes and stuff. We aren't getting that very often from him at the moment. It's just going long. And if it does go long, he's now got 2 targets up there. Zirkzee's not bad in the air. Højlund is obviously going to be decent in the air with his physicality. And then you could have people like Rashford and Garnacho feeding off that. So there's another option as well to go with this 3-5-2. So Onana sweeper keeper on attack, no play instructions. For the 2 wider centre-halves, I've just gone wide centre-backs on defend. I'm curious that we need to stop conceding goals. We don't want to do the whole, who was it for Inzaghi? Bastoni on this left-hand side. Absolutely crazy. We don't want a John Stones stepping into midfield like a Manchester City. We want to have a really secure back line there. So we've gone wide centre-backs on defend, just so when the full-backs are going forward, so it would look something like that with Luke Shaw, with Martinez just backing up the wing back, rather than it being sort of like these underlapping runs. You may see that occasionally in the match engine. It may occasionally do it, but generally no. We just want him there supporting the play a little bit, obviously helping as well. If there's a counter attack, we're going to be in good areas here. We'll be a little bit more squeezed across. Won't we? Rashford will obviously be working that left space. We're a little bit more compact as well, which will help when we lose the ball. Okay, so that's why we've got those 2 wide centre-backs on. And then De Ligt, ball-playing defender on cover. I think Harry Maguire would be great at that because he has a good range of sweeping passes when he plays in the middle. So ball-playing defender on cover. Can he be a little bit more aggressive in terms of maybe direct passes into the strikers, maybe a Bruno, maybe a Menu or a Mason Mount, who's those, sort of like those 2 8s. 2 wing-backs. We've obviously allowed Dalot to be that complete wing-back because it does have roam from position in it. We're not asking him to be overly aggressive. I think this is the only downside with us. He likes to be more of a possession-based wing-back rather than one of those sort of like flying wing-backs. Same on the other side. We're not going to expect Luke Shaw. Malacia maybe, but we've got wing-back on support just for Luke Shaw. So that's why we've put Rashford on this side as well to help with an outlet down this left-hand side. And then Dalot as the complete wing-back on support. No play instructions. Now, what you could do is if you wanted to press really high, because there will be at times when Man United would look to press with their 2 wing-backs and closing down the full-back. So one little option you could do if you want to be really aggressive is mark specific position and get them to mark the opposite side. So Dalot would mark the left back and Shaw would mark the right back. And then when there's a press on and a trigger press, we would then get Luke Shaw going up really high. So there's a little option for you as well. Ugarte, ball-winning midfielder on defender. I think like literally that's the only role I would have him in. Maybe not an anchor because it's a little bit too static. You want him literally to be covering the ground. Hopefully that hasn't been vacated too much by Bruno and Mount/Menu. So the Mount-Menu role, we've got Mazzala just so he can free up a little bit. I think he's great when he's got the ball at his feet and he's got the opportunity to run. Obviously, we saw the struggles that he had getting knocked off the ball for the third. He's all right with his back to goal, but he's not got the physicality, obviously, to hold off players just yet. So that is a little bit of a worry. So getting him a little bit further up to free him up a little bit. We'll probably see that naturally anyway now because Ugarte's there, but we're going to go with Mazzala on support. We've got Casemiro to come in as a backup for Ugarte. We've got Mount to come in as a backup or a rotation option for Menu. And then right here, we've got Bruno Fernandes, advanced playmaker on attack, no play instructions, but you could probably go more direct passing for him. I will save that in now because I would love him to see at times just drop in here and then link. You could even go like advanced playmaker on support for him on that one, just so it comes a little bit deeper at times to help him build up. Roaming playmaker as well. We just want to have him having more touches on the ball. Obviously now at the age of 30 years old, or soon to be 30, he's coming to the close where he's going to be past his best, and having him doing all this transitional running is not going to help. We need to have him in a possession-based side on the ball. That would also suit Menu. It would also suit players like Shaw and Dalot and the back and Martinez, De Ligt, Euro, all decent in what would be hopefully a more controlled possession side. Up front, we've gone with DLF, which would be Zirkzee and Højlund potentially. So staying quite high, but then drifting in, dropping in at times. You get that brilliantly with the DLF. And then Rashford on this one, or Garnacho, or even Højlund advance forward but stay wider. And we've also got that as well with Joshua Zirkzee on that one, just so we can, what we call split strikers a little bit, because we're not getting that absolute attacking threat. You know, this is not a Frimpong, said this is not an Alphonso Davies. We might need our strikers just to split a little bit and players split strikers and go a little bit wide, and that would maybe allow a little bit of a underlap maybe from a Dalot, or these two, Fernandes and Menu, getting into these more central areas. So that's why I've got that on. And obviously as well, we want them to chase into channels. Rashford will probably naturally drift over. So you've got a player trait. Cuts in from the left wing. So if he could just get that little bit of a little bit of a space here in these little half spaces and then come in, potentially that might be a good option. Right, positive mentality, fairly wide. Play out of defence, because we're going to have that numerical advantage, you would think. Shorter passing, but higher tempo, so still moving it quickly. Time wasting sometimes. I've just done that just so we can take the sting out of games. Be more expressive with low crosses. Højlund's not great in the air, great at sort of like getting a toe in at the near post. Zirkzee's not brilliant, missed a couple of big chances. He was also poor for Bologna last year in the air, so we're looking at more of using their long legs for tap-ins rather than the aerial threat. In transition, counter press and counter needs to be done. Slow the pace down when we've got the goalkeeper though, so we can build out properly at the back, distribute to centre-halves and take short kicks. We've got Onana, remember, on sweeper, keeper, and attack. So at times when you're watching it in the match engine, it will do your head in when he still goes long. That is pure, and that is just pretty much like what he does at the moment. So frustrating at times where you think he could pass the ball into midfield and play out, and we go along and the ball's then comes back. Hopefully with this system though, with the 2 up, 2 high, occupying centre halves, we might get a little bit more luck when the ball does go 60, 70 yards forward. And then something that needs to be done. At the moment, Man United have got this kind of thing going on with this huge gap in the middle. So we need to squeeze that right up. Yoro's got good pace. Martinez, De Ligt, all decent in terms of, De Ligt is not the quickest. He's 14. But for a centre-half, I think, is enough. Lenny Yoro, he's faster than that. He's never been 11. He will have a massive upgrade for FM25. You could actually put invite crosses on as well, because we've got Yoro, De Ligt, we've got 3 centre-halves. You could actually encourage them. So if you read this, look, invite crosses. Invite crosses asks the team to allow the crosses in an effort to defend the situation they would be confident of being successful into balls into the box, basically. Perhaps against opponents with smaller forwards, or if you prefer more in central areas. So you could definitely put that on and say, go on then, if you want to cross it in. Chelsea did that back in the day with Terry and Carvalho, quite happy for balls to come into the box, so they knew that their defenders would pretty much win everything in the air, allow the ball to go wide, stay nice and compact, nice and central. So that could be a potential option as well. All right, guys, I hope you've enjoyed it. Something a little bit different. If you've enjoyed the tactical bit at the start, because that's hopefully something that, it's something I'm putting on to my videos now, just to try and show you that real life to FM kind of mix. Hope you've enjoyed it. It cost me 30 odd quid, so I'd appreciate it if you let me know your thoughts on that bit down in the comments. Next video, we've got Manchester City's wide playmaker that is coming to the channel on Thursday. Bordeaux's back tomorrow as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. See you later.